The Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, is warning of copycats sending threats to public figures, mimicking a now deleted social media post from former FBI Director James Comey. Comey shared this image of seashells spelling out 8647, which the president and his allies say amounts to a call for his assassination, something the former FBI director denies. He was interviewed by the Secret Service on Friday. Now, while there's some debate about the origins of the phrase, the number 86 more typically refers to running out a restaurant menu item or banning someone from a bar. Donald Trump is the 47th president. For his part, Comey says he came across the shells already arranged, and while he recognized them to be a political message, it had nothing to do with violence, he said. He is also the author of a new legal thriller, FDR Drive, and the former FBI Director James Comey joins me now. I'm going to get to your book in a moment, FDR Drive. But when you posted this message, 8647, and I said there are different interpretations of it, but one interpretation of it is to end someone or something. Was there anything in the back of your mind that said, maybe I just shouldn't post this?
Yeah, no, literally nothing, because it seemed entirely innocent and clever to me. I have never, and actually still don't associate 86 with violence, but because I heard that some folks were, whether they do that reasonably or not, I don't want any part of it. And so that's why I took it down from my Instagram account.
You know, you are held to, I think, a different standard, that you're in the spotlight in a way that a lot of people aren't. Do you think that makes it even more incumbent on you to be careful about things like this?
Sure, if you have any inkling that there's a problem. But they were talking about seashells at the beach that my wife and I stood over trying to understand what it was. And she said just what you said in the intro, which is she was a longtime server when we were in school. And she said, yeah, that used to mean, it was a kitchen a phrase to say 86, meaning to get it off the menu. And I thought, well, that's a clever political message. Never occurred to me, and actually still doesn't, that it's associated with violence.
It still doesn't, even though people have pointed it out that it has been used in that context?
Yeah, I've never seen it used in that context or heard it used in that context. Still.
How was your interview with the Secret Service about this?
Oh, good. They're total pros. I've worked with the Secret Service for many, many years, and they asked the right questions, trying to understand why I did it. We had a very similar conversation to the one you and I just had.
Did you leave thinking that they believed you, or did you leave thinking they still had concerns?
Well, I don't have any reason to believe they don't believe me. And so I feel like they asked the right questions, and I can't imagine there'll be any more on it.
Your book is about sort of protected speech when protected speech becomes political violence. Is that a fair way to characterize it? It's about an extreme podcaster, right, who talks about things and then there are acts of political violence.
Right. It's about a right-wing extremist trying to motivate followers to violence through his words and his broadcast.
It's interesting that your book is about that, and now there is this discussion about speech, things said, and whether it can be motivating toward violence, yes?
Yeah, not interesting to me. A bit of a distraction, actually. But the book's about an important question. I don't see the seashell thing as an important issue. But I hope folks will read the book and see that it's a great thriller, but it's also about things that are important and current.
How challenging is it to write political fiction now, when it seems like almost every sensational political event that could happen has happened in real life?
Yeah, and some of the stuff that goes on, right? A journalist being invited to a Signal chat, if you put it in your novel, your editor would say, come on, cut that out. This is fiction, but it's got to be real. So truth continues to surprise and be stranger than fiction. I'm trying to write very real fiction, so show people what it's really like inside these investigations. And often you see reflected in real life in ways you wouldn't expect.
You think your fiction is more mundane than real life at times? Is that the...
I think it's probably right, because some of the things that we've seen I wouldn't have imagined to put in a book.
Talk to me about your view of the type of people who are part of this Trump administration compared to the first Trump administration. What differences do you see?
I think they had more talent, smarter people the first time. They had people who were willing to go along, be a little bit sycophantic, but they were people who had the skills to try and protect institutional interests, to distract the president, to lead him off to something else, to avoid doing things that didn't make sense in light of the obligations they had to lead institutions like the FBI or DOJ, and that's gone. It's Four Seasons total landscaping all the way down. It's sycophants. It's people who will try and please the president, and so that's I never thought I'd say we missed the old gang from Trump 1.0, but I do.
Kash Patel is the director of the FBI. There are some reports he misses some morning briefings. He's very visibly been at a lot of sporting events out there in the public. How concerned are you about that, and what do you think the rank and file at the FBI sees there?
I'm not the least bit concerned about that, given that nothing in his life will have prepared him to be FBI director. I'm fine if he is out doing other things and letting the career people make the decisions about operations, about priorities. That would be better for everybody.
Do you think the career people are making the decisions behind the scenes?
Hard for me to say. I mean, I'm sure they are because they know what they're doing. So if you're going to go from being an outsider who knows nothing about the institution to the inside, you're going to have to rely on the career people.
What are the thing we led with tonight, and there's still murky details about this, the possibility that federal prosecutors flouted a federal judge's order. The federal judge seems to think that it's possible that they flouted his order and they may have deported some migrants to South Sudan. The idea of flouting a federal judge's order seems to be something more common now, or more discussed, or not as foreboding and maybe as it used to be. What do you see here? Do you see prosecutors willing to push the envelope more?
I can't tell. There's certainly a lot of aggressive rhetoric in that way, but it is suicidal from a career perspective for a lawyer for the United States Department of Justice to knowingly violate a court order. There will be consequences that will be life-changing for that lawyer. And so I don't know whether we've moved from a lot of aggressive talk, which is characteristic of the Trump world, to lawyers actually making that life-changing decision.
FBI Director, former FBI Director James Comey, author of FDR Drive. Good luck out there with the book. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to be with you.